What's up guys? Welcome back. So this right here is my PX9302. It's a new little 1/18 scale car that I got, and I want to make it faster. Now pretty soon I'm going to overvolt this and get it running on a much bigger battery that it's meant for, hopefully make it a lot faster. Before we do that, I want to try something a little bit simpler that should hopefully also make the car a bit faster. I'm going to swap out all the bushings in the car for some ball bearings. So for those of you who don't know what that means, bearings and bushings are parts which allow things to spin. So a bearing looks like this. And this little ring in the center is able to spin independently. And so anything that's going through there is going to be able to spin super freely. A bushing, on the other hand, is a lot simpler. It's literally just a smooth piece of metal with a hole in the middle. And so anything spinning inside of this just sort of slides against the walls. So obviously bearings are a lot better than bushings, but they are a bit more expensive. And so on most cheaper cars, you'll find bushings instead. So by swapping out all of the bushings for bearings, we should be able to improve the performance a bit. So yeah, let's do it. So in this car, you're going to find bushings out here in the wheel carriers and also in here right on the differentials. Although this car actually came with bearings on the differentials, so you don't have to swap those. But you definitely should check, because I know on the Sandyland I did have to swap those. Now getting to these is pretty simple. First step is just to take off the wheels. And this car actually comes with a little tool for that. And you can see in here we have this little hex thing, and you just want to take that off. It's not actually attached with anything. Sometimes you can take it off with your hands, but oftentimes you'll need a little thing to pry it off with. There you go. And you can see that right there is a bushing. Now to actually get at these, you have to take off this screw up here at the top, and then this other one that's down here on the bottom. And once you've got those screws off, this piece will just come off like that. So then you can just push out the end of that, and there you go. And you can already see this seems to have a little bit of gray metal dust on it. Ooh yeah, and that is from the bushings. They do wear out like that. And to get these out, you just reach in with something and pop them out. Just sort of push. All right, so really quickly, I just found a super useful trick for this. So the bushing that's in this little bit right here is super hard to get out because you have to push it from this side and there's only a little bit of it exposed. But if you take this tool right here that actually came with the car and you just stick it in the back like that and push, then you can see the bushing just pops right out. Super easy. So yeah, here's a bushing and here's a bearing. And you can see spinning this inside of the bushing, I can actually feel it rubbing on the inside a little bit. Whereas on the bearing, it's a lot smoother. Okay, and the size of these bearings is 6x10x3 if you want to get any of your own. And the brand doesn't really matter, you can just get any bearings. And putting in the bearings is super simple. You just sort of pop them in. So you just put this back in, line it back up with the drive shaft like that, line it back up here, and then put back in the screws. One goes in the top, and one goes in the bottom. And so then this hex, you just put it back on, and you put the wheel on the top, and you screw it back on. And on the rear, it's a very similar process. The only difference is that you just take off this one screw here instead of the two on the top and bottom. Can be a bit of a pain sometimes though, just because of the position that it's in. And then once you've got that off, it's basically the same as it is on the front. All right, so I've got one side done. So I'm gonna get the other side done off camera, and I will see you guys when I'm done. All right, so I've got all the bearings in, and you can see it spins pretty well. Look at that. Just spins like forever. So yeah, let's get out and give it a test. Hopefully it should be a bit faster than before. Oh yeah, it definitely looks better. Oh no. Oh, front flip. Hey. All right, so after I hit the tree, the car started making this really weird clicking noise. It sounds like this. So I took apart literally the entire car to try and figure out what it was. I looked at all the gears, I looked at the motor, I cleaned everything, I greased it all, and I made the sound quieter, but I can't get it to go away completely. Interestingly though, it doesn't really seem to be causing any problems. I mean, when I take my hand off the throttle, it keeps on going for a lot longer than it did before. So I don't know, I think I'll just leave it like this. We'll see if the sound goes away. Hopefully it won't just fall apart on me. But yeah, let's get back out there and give it a test. Yeah, definitely not any slower. So there it is, so new bearings for the Speed Pioneer. This is definitely a nice upgrade. So speed-wise, I feel like this has made a small improvement on the speed. It's definitely nothing insane, but the car is a tiny bit faster. I would say that the biggest difference this has made has been in the acceleration. The car feels a little bit punchier. It's actually really helpful for getting it to drift, because obviously the wheels are able to start spinning faster so they can break traction easier. Now, on its own, this upgrade isn't really going to make any crazy differences. You're not really going to feel that much of a difference until you start running it at a lot higher RPM. And that's actually why I've done it, is because I'm planning on getting it running on this much bigger battery soon. But it's a pretty cheap and simple upgrade, and it makes a great platform to build off of. So I definitely recommend it as a good first upgrade. Now, as for the drivetrain of this car, that weird clicking noise that it was making earlier has just completely gone away. So I have no idea what it was, but it's gone now. Unfortunately though, we have a new problem. The rear differential is pretty much completely locked, and the front differential is sort of starting to go that way. I have no idea how or when that happened, but it happened. The good news is they're only really locked on the inside though, so the wheels can still spin no problem. They just can't really spin independently. So I don't know, I might want to upgrade the differentials to some proper metal ones soon, or I might just leave it as it is, because having some limited slip differentials might be helpful. But yeah, hopefully soon we'll be able to get it running on its 3S LiPo here. And I'll be doing a lot more upgrades with that in the very near future. So stay tuned for that, subscribe so you don't miss it, and I will see you all then.